It's New Mutants #2 by Jonathan Hickman and Bill Sienkiewicz. And I actually made the effort to learn how to pronounce Sienkiewicz properly and practiced it several times. So let's see how many times I screw up with it here today. Hey, this is Perch. Sorry about that opening. Just its pronunciation is a funny little thing. Anyway, this issue obviously not drawn by Bill Sienkiewicz, but is drawn by Rob Reis. Reis, right? See, I'm doing it already. But it is written by Jonathan Hickman alone, so this is definitely a Hickman issue. And New Mutants, as the title, was always going to be kind of in the beginning two parts. It was going to be Hickman kind of tying up some of his Avengers Infinity storyline with Cannonball and his son and so on, and also was going to introduce kind of the new mandate of the New Mutants and what they were going to do. So the first issue started out with a little bit of the latter, but more of the former, which was the Sunspot wanted to go into space to save his buddy Sam, who had a most likely an ugly dad bod with his wife and his kid, because that's what domestic life is like out in space. He married, I don't know about married, but is with Smasher anyway. Maybe it's his wife. I think it's hard to tell in space. Nobody can hear you scream. What's also notable about New Mutants is how, God bless Rob Reis for drawing Rain like Mace Williams. That New Mutants movie is never coming out. It just never feels like it's going to come out, but the torch is burning here. He draws Rain like herself. It's a good version of herself, and also gets Mace Williams out of this as well. Maisie Williams. See, damn it, the New Mutants is just fraught with crazy pronunciations. Anyway, in the last issue, they blast in space the Starjammers. I love the recap pages here because they are very much drawn right out of the OG, including even the dot pattern shading and some of how the page is laid out, the colors and everything. It feels like it's right out of a Sienkiewicz comic from the 80s. So I keep using, got his name again. And they basically go into space, they hitch a ride with the Starjammers. Starjammers proceed to, dump them. They stole their liquor. This is narrated by Sunspot, so it's definitely from his perspective. They're thrown in jail. He has Roberto has great lawyers, so they get a space lawyer. They go to trial, and the space lawyer immediately screws it up on page number 1. But they're remanded to the custody of Cannonball and Smasher. So reunion made. New Mutants, big hug. Mondo, Chamber, kind of exchanging eyes in the background. They're not part of the OG New Mutants club, but nice to see them here. There's a nice feeling. I mean, if you were an X-Men fan in the 80s. This is a good moment for you, just to see it back together. Reis doing a great job of making it feel, they've all got their new costumes. They've definitely got their new status quo. There's Cannonball with his significant other, wife, mom, but it feels like old times, even though Rain is drawn like Maisie Williams. We're going with that. And some good humor. The one thing that's really cool here is Hickman, who did the House of X, Powers of 10 comics, and has his style definitely with X-Men. He's got some humor to it, and so it feels like, and it's colored like, and it's shaded like, and it feels like a classic New Mutants story. If Hickman was going to give us a little kind of Christmas present here, a little holiday present of the first couple issues of this book, it's that the creative team, he and Reis, are giving us something that feels very authentic to New Mutants of OG original New Mutants time frame. So that's pretty cool. So anyway, right down to some of the arguments between Bobby and Cannonball. So you can clearly tell Hickman said in an interview a long time ago in this when he was doing Avengers, he wanted the two of them on the team because they were two of his favorites, and it shows here. It shows that he gets the characters, he gets the dynamic, he gets the back and forth. This is characterizations we haven't seen. Other people wrote Roberto, both characters, just too snarky. The USA Avengers, there were parts that were okay, but tonally it didn't feel right, didn't fit right. This is right, and it feels like Infinity happened, and the characters got separated and they're reuniting for the first time. Obviously, they were together during USA Avengers, and there were more story there. But this feels like you can just kind of erase that from your memory and pick right up. So Smasher, gives Bobby a nice punch to the nose again, just like old times, and he's he's hey, you made us have we couldn't have a regular babysitter. It's just a lot of cool, just it's that good mix between some serious stuff. There's a big Shi'ar problem going on here, and the baby. So this completes a reuniting of the characters. They all take off. We get the nice court processing again, showing that even Hickman can have fun with his own data sheets, and off they go. So they approach the Stargate. They're going to complete their little reuniting mission and figure things out, where Smasher, one of the Super Guardian Smasher, is rerouted, that she needs to accomplish a mission to basically retrieve someone, which is unfortunate, as we're about to find out. So we get some more data sheets on the advisors, and we get a nice little card game scene between the New Mutants here around space cards with just good back and forth. This issue is not big on action, so I'm saying a lot of nice things about it because it reminds me a lot of the New Mutants. If you didn't read that era, this issue might be a big bore to you because it's not going to be advancing many of the Dawn of X storylines. At least it will in hindsight, but it is very much a tribute to a lot of the New Mutants, right down to some of the interplay between Cypher and Moonstar, which has again, there's a lot of little art cues that are being taken here. Including some nice ones from the John Bogdove era and also the Blevins era as well. You can see it in some of the characters and some of the expressions. So there's a lot of different kind of New Mutants styles that are coming into play here. And right down to a little hologram where they're watching some Lila Cheney on the little space video machine. So that's good too. So they're rerouted. Good news, bad news. The good news is all the New Mutants are pardoned, so that first issue jail time is rerouted, and they're going off on their little space adventure, and they have a little mission. What is that mission? Well, before we get to that, we're down to the Shi'ar throne world, where we get Jandra. Now, Jandra, it was introduced in the Rogan Gambit series as the daughter of Lillandra and Xavier, and they're basically saying, previously the Gladiator had been named the Magistor of the Shi'ar Empire. This issue is just determined to throw lots of crazy words at me. Anyway, he was on the throne, but he's basically in like 3 or 4 panels, they're erasing some silliness, and they're bringing Gladiator back to being the Praetor of the Imperial Guard, the leader of the Imperial Guard, which is his place, and they're putting Jandra, the daughter of Xavier and Lillandra, onto the throne. But to be on the throne, she's going to need some guidance. She's going to need a mentor. She's going to need somebody who can help her kind of properly achieve the throne. She's listed as an Omega level mutant, so she's going to need somebody tough. She's going to need somebody to kind of watch over her. That brings us back to the present. They're both happening in the present, which is where have the New Mutants been sent to? They have been sent to retrieve Deathbird, who is, of course, longtime X-Men character, somebody who's certainly a problem character for the X-Men in general in the past. Very savage, duplicitous, truly violent person who helped train Jandra to take on this throne. So, all Shi'ar politics for you there. Again, this issue kind of buzzes by very quickly. It moves at a much quicker pace than the first issue. The first issue set a lot of pieces in motion. But this comic so far, New Mutants 1 and 2, and especially this issue, is about character moments. So fundamentally, is this for you? It comes down to, do you care about these characters or not? If you grew up in the 80s, you like X-Men books, then you care about these characters. This is probably nice stuff. It fills in a lot of gaps. It corrects a few wrongs, and it just tries to get the comic on right footing again. Now, that may all be pointless if, in issue 4, issue 5, we get a new writer takes over, and that writer is going to write more of kind of the the rest of the New Mutants, the welcoming New Mutants to Krakoa, and kind of what that all looks like. So where this comic is going, they're putting the New Mutants pieces back on the table in a nice way. That's great. Hopefully those pieces are then used, which is always the trick whenever you make a comic like this. I'm saying the word a lot. I don't know why. But if you don't like these characters, they don't really mean much to you. If you grew up in the 90s, this comic probably feels like a big waste. And hopefully not. Hopefully you get something out of those moments, and hopefully the craft of storytelling still comes through. But I can see how that would be the feel if if you don't know these characters, you don't have a fondness for these characters, then what does it all mean? I recommend it highly. Again, I grew up in this era, so if you're an old-time X-Men fan, this is probably what you've been waiting for. I really appreciate the nods to different art styles, from Sienkiewicz to Blevins, to some of the different artists who really made the New Mutants what they were. And so Rob Reis, great all around. I mean, he's the artist of the book, doing all of it. I'm not sure. Tom Mueller is listed as the design. I'd love to know what the design is. What does that mean in terms of this issue? Is this kind of the page layout? Is this some of the data sheets? I'm sure there's an answer in there. Somebody would tell me in the comments. But the painting, the coloring, the use of style, again, it has the feel of people who respect the X-Men legacy. So I see zero chance that they can keep up this quality. So I'm curious who the art replacements will be. But so far, so good. It's really nice stuff. Even though Mondo Chamber definitely took a giant back seat, to be expected to some extent, given that this was about the original New Mutants reunion. Still nice. So again, nice stuff. Nice comic. Good for you. Let's just say good for you. Did you like it? Leave me a comment below. Would love to hear your thoughts on it. Like, subscribe if you don't mind subscribing. It always is. It's a big thank you for me, and recommendations to other people is also very much appreciated as well. I'm tweaking these reviews a little bit, not giving away as much, but just trying to kind of give more of the flavor of the comic. Let me know if you like that or you don't. You like the old style better. All good. Follow me on Twitter at Comic Perch. Thanks for listening.